Hello. Welcome to Sunday School with Miss Wesley, Special Edition. Woo-yeah! I'm so glad you guys chose to view this lesson. This special edition is for Thanksgiving. I know it's an American holiday. It happens to be one of my favorite holidays. Despite what your view might be towards the history, which ironically it is not exactly what they're saying it is. Thanksgiving is a holiday that is based on celebrating being thankful, which is one of the reasons why it's my favorite holiday. How that is such a interesting way of looking at it, I know, but there's nothing wrong with being thankful and celebrating it. That's why this video is called An Attitude of Gratitude. I know we set aside one day to celebrate being thankful. However, as many have said, we should be thankful each and every day. And a lot of this comes from having an attitude of gratitude. This sign, make sure it's not glaring off of the light behind me. This sign stays in my bathroom. If it is backwards, it's looking backwards to me, but to you it's right on. But it is think right, act right, feel right. So, my mom and dad, for quite a number of years, would go to these seminars. And one of the guys, that was his saying. Because, they have the saying, you gotta think right and then you'll act right. But if you want a positive attitude, this was the guy's take, you need to think right. Think right. Because if you're thankful, it changes your whole perspective on life. Now, as a child, as a teenager, hearing the words, you need to be thankful when I had a bad attitude, was not exactly what I wanted to hear. And I really wish I would have embraced this philosophy a lot earlier in life, because it would have changed a lot of things a lot quicker. Because growing up, I did have a very negative outlook on life. And when I switched that, when I changed it, and I started being thankful, even when things looked bad, I noticed a change. Now, what does this have to do with a godly perspective? Well, it changes the outlook of how we see things. And it does, in fact, affect our godly, our spiritual perspective as well. Because if we start viewing every bad thing going on, we often forget how many good things have happened. Like, I'll take for instance, a couple weeks ago, I had a flat tire. It was on the front side of my car, on the driver's side. And I was on the highway. Nothing happened. Other than the fact I had a flat tire, I had to get off on the side of the road. It was rather busy that day. I could not find my blinkers. My car's an older car. It took forever to find the blinkers. But I was fortunate. Where my car stopped was very close to where my parents lived. And I was able to call my dad. I was able to call my mom, and I got help. My car did not go flinging out into the cornfields. I did not have any real worry. So I could have looked at it and said, that is the worst thing that has ever happened to me all day, and focused only on the bad, or I could focus on the good, and I chose to focus on the good. This is a very hard habit to switch into because we are programmed as humans to look at the negative. It's like looking at all the corona junk on it's everywhere. You could look at the bad, or you could look at the good. How many people do you know have started talking about church again? How many people do you know that are coming and talking to you? How many people do you know have showed up to your online services that would have never stepped foot in a church? You can look at the bad, or you can look at the good. Now, for this lesson, to think right, I'm going to use Paul. Yes, biblical Paul. And why I'm going to use him is the exact way of this, what I'm saying here. That you can look at the bad or you can look at the good, because Paul went through a nightmare. And the only thing he wanted to do was serve God. He went and had a total transformation. His whole life changed. At the beginning of his life, he was killing Christians, and then God talked to him, and he had a whole transition in his life. And he went through crisis after crisis after crisis. He was thrown in jail numerous times. People tried to stone him. Numerous people tried to kill him. They rejected him. They mocked him. They spit on him. He was gotten shipwrecks twice. 2 shipwrecks. And through it all, instead of feeling sorry, well, he did get sorry for himself, but he still praised God. He still was thankful for what he had. I mean, if you read his numerous books in the Bible, even though he hated it, he didn't like how people treated him, he still had the attitude of gratitude, and he was thankful for what God had given him. He was thankful that he had a life after this one. This was not permanent. It is a temporary lifespan. And through it all, he had this attitude of gratitude. Before, Paul, I bet, was not a very nice man. He was not someone you wanted to be around unless you went down the road he went down. And through another man that had an attitude of gratitude, who was, instead of cursing the people that were hurting him, he was asking God to forgive them. Yeah, forgiveness is attitude for forgiveness is very important too. It touched Paul and changed Paul's life. And it started with how he saw things. And like I said, through everything that's going on, you could focus on, or even how your day-to-day life is. Yes, I know you're hurting. I know some days you wake up scared to death. But you can focus on the bad, or you can focus on the good. It's always, like I've tell everyone it's always your choice. And yes, having a thankful attitude in a world that says, I'm going to take, or they're never happy with what they got, and they always want more. Having an attitude of gratitude changes that perspective too. Instead of taking, you want to give. And you want to give abundantly. And instead of seeing people as just, it all takes this mind. It's more than a mind change. It's a lifestyle change. And one of the ways you could change this lifestyle always is with more Jesus and less world and less, that stuff you're watching on the news. Don't watch it. Turn it off. It's not helping you. How often are your anxiety rise and rise and rise the more you watch it? Turn it off. And start focusing on everything that is good. I'm not saying that just focus on purely that. If you don't, you're never going to get anything done. But do be content with what you have, but always look for more. And this is important in church too. Be content where you are in church, but always look for more. Always want to rise, whether it is to rise to a new position or get closer to God. But in all things, be thankful. Be thankful for God and who He is and what you do have and where you've come from and where you're going. Just like Mr. Paul, which was a good man to look at if you want to see what an attitude of gratitude can do for you. Alright, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Every single day of your life. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.